Hey there, audio friends, MrAyrit here. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are talking about a nice little portable DAC amp here, and that is the Hifi Hip DAC 3. This is obviously the third generation of this device, and I didn't get to hear the second generation Hip DAC, but I did own the first generation for a little bit, so I'll draw some conclusions to that and just what I've seen as upgrades along the way. And ultimately we'll talk about where this $200 portable DAC amp sits kind of in the landscape and what kind of value it has to offer for people. So first, what's in the box? It's pretty bare bones, honestly. It's a simple box, nothing special there, really. You get the unit as well as some rubber feet so you can, sit it on your desk if that's going to be your main use case, which I appreciate that they include those in there. And then we've got a couple of cable options here. So you've got USB-A to USB-C, you've got USB-C to USB-C. I didn't use these. I'm an iPhone user. You have to get your own Lightning connector if that's going to be your use case, which I can link down below to a reasonably priced one of those. So pretty bare bones as far as accessories goes, but that's okay because they're trying to keep the price down. Like I said, this one comes in at $200. I think, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I think that the Gen 3 or the Gen 2 one was $300 for a while. So I appreciate that this one is $200. Now, let's take a look at what the unit offers. We'll talk about a few specifications, and then ultimately we'll get into sound here fairly quickly. So it's kind of a champagne type of a color. I think it's quite a handsome unit. Personally, I've always really liked the aesthetic of the Hip DACs. It does look very flask-like. I think it's a cool look. I think the size is okay. Obviously it's not going to be as portable as something like a Moondrop Dawn Pro here, which I reviewed recently, or something like a BTR7, and there's no Bluetooth connectivity, so you have to be tethered to a device, which maybe is okay, maybe not. If it's going to sit on your desk, no worries. But if it's something that's going to be in your pocket, you got to imagine you're going to have this and a phone in your pocket, which probably isn't an ideal solution. There is a built-in battery for this, right, which they tout 7 to 10 hours of playtime. I don't really use these devices in that way, so I can't confirm that. I really don't have any reason to think that it wouldn't meet those requirements. So on the device here, you've got a very, very nice feeling analog volume knob. Feels very good, very smooth, clicks on and off. Love that. It's got an power match button. So this is kind of like a gain button, although they say it does a little bit more than that. I'm not going to go into those details, but there's a difference when you're using something like an Aria or a Nano. Like, you can definitely hear a difference in volume and in a few subtle qualities when you turn that on. You've got X bass, which a lot of people love. I'm not a big user in that. I found the bass adequate as it was, but if you've got a little bit of a lighter bass headphone, or you love heavy bass and you want a little bit more, it's there for you, which I think is nice. 4.4 balanced, 3.5 single-ended right there. All that is good. And then if we kind of flip around on the back here, we've got one USB-C for data. We've got one USB-C for power and charging. Didn't have any issues with any of that. And then finally, we've got an IE match toggle on the bottom here, which you can see you can set it to 3.5, or you can set it to 4.4, or you can set it to off. This, I think, is probably the #1 feature that they've added to the third generation here, because the first generation, I can't speak for the second generation, but the first generation I thought was way too powerful to use with IEMs or even sensitive headphones. Like, you had no play in the volume knob to dial that volume in for lower listening levels. With this, you have it. I tested it with several IEMs. It works great, so I love that they added that feature here. So let's jump into a couple of specs here real quick. The one you probably want to know is power output. It's 400 milliwatts into 32 ohms, and then they say 6.3 volts into 600 ohms. That's probably not as much information as I would like. It's not a super powerful amp, but the long and the short of it is it's probably enough for anything you're going to want to drive it with. It's fine with the Aria Organic. It's fine with the Nano. If you're using something like a like a Susvara, you're not looking at this anyway, so don't worry about that. I think you got plenty of power available to you here. As far as DAC chips go, it's using a Burr Brown, which is pretty typical of Hifi products. We'll get into sound characteristics a little bit. It does, you know, pretty much anything you'd want. DSD, MQA, etc., etc. So I think you've got plenty there that you can work with. Let's talk about sound. Now, I found this to be a rather smooth device. And that can be a good thing or a bad thing, right? If you got headphones that are a little harsh, come off a little over sharpened, I think this is going to do a nice job of smoothing them out, making them a little more easy to listen to. On the other end of that, though, I did often feel like I was missing a little bit of clarity in this. Now, maybe some people, like I said, depending on headphones and things like that, you might not miss that, or you might welcome it. For me, especially with the Nano and the Organic, because that's what I'm testing here lately, I preferred it on my Element 3. I just thought it was a little bit crispier, a little bit better defined. One thing I think that the Hip DAC 3 does really well, though, is space. It does give you a good sense of space. The one caveat with that sense of space is sometimes I felt like I kind of had to reach out and like really reach for something to get the information that I wanted. It wasn't kind of right there for me. Again, that's probably a personal preference type of thing, but I in general appreciate a little bit more of a forward presentation than the Hip DAC 3 offers. As far as where it slots in for value, at $200, you're getting a capable DAC amp here that you can take with you and run as a portable device. So in that sense, I think it is pretty good. I mean, if you compare it to something like the BTR7, I think this is probably going to surpass it in resolution and kind of spatial information and imaging. But the BTR7 has Bluetooth, which is nice. It's smaller, which is nice. So I think for a portable option, it's a little bit nicer. Plus, you have some more EQ options where you just basically have the X bass here. So I don't know. It's a give and take, right? It's a give and take. Certainly, there's more resolution here than something like the Dawn Pro. Although for $50, I really do like this device. So I really think Hifi has made a good improvement since Gen 1 to this Hip DAC line. I think all in all, it's a much more usable device. It still is a very pleasant device to interact with, probably more pleasant than most devices at this $200 price point. Just the button feel, the knob feel, and all that stuff. That's really where this thing shines. It does feel like a premium piece of gear, I would say. And so if you're a fan of design and you really like to have physical things that feel nice, that's where you might lean towards this over something else in the same kind of pricing category. So yeah, I think it's a good device for $200. Can you find better sound or something that's more portable? Probably. Can you find something that feels nicer? I doubt it. And I think that's where we'll leave it with this guy. So your thoughts, opinions, all that stuff, drop it down below. Always welcome those. Thanks for watching. Thanks for Hifi for sending this out. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one.